Mixtape addict. Mr. Edit, you bitch. I've been grinding.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? It's King Flow, Mixtape Addict in this bitch. You know, worldwide connection. Once again, it's the Shortcut Show. And today I'm with my special guest. You know, we just dropped a banger together and my man DJ Cliff, Jay and Nostra in the fucking house. How you doing, bro?
Yo.
From the highs of High Ridge to the top of Dale Street, I build with the mammals in the water with whales meat. Grandpa went hard, he should've owned Pepper's Farm. All of my life, poppy seeds and chicken parm. One with the instruments, locked in my room. All I had was sentiments, locked in tune. Escape from the mayhem, find beats and play them. The spirit is one, hip-hop say amen. Set it off on my own stimulus. The cops and the gov together, that's generous. A poppy filled with apes.
What's up, brother? What's good, man? What's up? How's it looking, man? What's up, Mixtape Addict?
You know,
DJ King Flow.
You know, glad to see you, you know what I'm saying, face to face, you know, after, you know, working on music with you. We here smoking on that bud, man.
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah, we good, man. So how you doing, my man?
Yo, I'm well, man. I can't complain, one day at a time. Just chilling out here, Royal Communications, man. Excited about the French stimulus.
Yes,
it's lit, man. I said so many things, and I appreciate all you, DJ Cliff, as well as you, man. We put together a banger, man. It's out there moving.
Home on the furlough, sipping on Merlot. The stocks in the KFC, yeah, I'm the colonel.
Moving work, baby.
Yeah, real hip hop, you know, for the culture, you know, good music.
Facts.
For people that love, you know, this culture. Everybody will love it if you get the right ears, you feel me? You will.
That's right.
So let me start with the first question, man, the Mixtape Addict question. I gotta ask you, you know, it's the tradition in the Mixtape Addict show. So who is your all-time favorite DJ, man?
My all-time favorite DJ is DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Okay.
DJ Jazzy Jeff, you know what I mean? You know, my favorite mixtape DJ is probably Doo-Wop, but that's a whole nother thing. But my favorite DJ all time, the inventor, and a lot of people wouldn't know why. And I'm going to just say why, and then we get on with the interview. DJ Jazzy Jeff created the Transformer scratch. Okay? This is a technique that so many DJs after him bit. He was an innovator, man. He took the DJ into a whole other level. And even today, right now, he's one of the best DJs as far as transitions, music, how he does things. You know, there's a reason that Will Smith worked heavily as an artist. And a lot of it, they both were great. But Jazzy Jeff is a phenomenal DJ.
Man.
That's a fact.
Yeah, he's not only like he's a legendary DJ, of course, you know, but he's more than that. You know, I remember when I heard the album that he produced himself, you know, making the beats and shit. It was crazy. And I remember he was telling something like back when, like the early 2000s, you know, he was talking about the sample clearing issues, you know. And he dropped the album with musicians recreating the ambience or samples, but with no samples. That shit was fucking nuts, man. You know, so crazy on the turntables. You know, a legendary guy for the culture and also a great producer. So, you know. Yeah,
what you gonna do?
Yeah,
you know
what you gonna do? Real shit. I think personally that, you know, after doing all those interviews, you know, most of the time the names that always come up are Jazzy Jeff and DJ Premier. So, you know, I think that we can name those two guys as probably the best two hip hop DJs of all time, you know.
Right, yeah, easily. And of course, Primo, yes, of course.
Yeah, man.
And Primo's production is crazy. Even more down the lane of an artist like myself, Primo is you know, he's an innovator as well. He's an innovator. Even in production, you see how many cats bite. Even his production style, the way he chops samples. I mean, you know, I went to college. You know what I'm saying? With little brother. They're a bit older than me, so it's Knife Wonder, Fonte, Big Pool. A lot of people out there probably know who they are.
When Tay pull his verses out, promoters pull their purses out, that money for a purchase out, that charge card that they swipe for the worst amounts, cause this is business, not personnel.
Knife Wonder, I seen him, you know, a lot of times talk about samples and ideas and loops and the differences. And I used to see how much credit they gave Primo and Pete Rock as far as the way they chopped the samples so that you could catch nothing. I mean, it was almost like to the point where they took so many snippets and they chopped it up so dope, you can't even find where the sample came from. I mean,
we've heard that, people say that, sampling is too easy or it's not creating music, but they don't really know the real thing, man. It's a science. Sometimes it's harder to sample than to create music. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, speaking of which, that's the French stimulus. I guess it's in that vein. I mean, there's a lot of real lines in there. Even Macron got that 19, but France still spent 100 billion of that green. That's a real line. Another one is Antoinette, Maria Antoinette. Basically, she was the queen during the French Revolution. And I go, a poppy filled with apes. They ask our packages, let them eat cakes.
Poppy filled with apes. They ask our packages, let them eat cakes.
Let them eat cakes is a direct quote from Antoinette, and she basically was saying, it was her way of saying, they're peasants, give them what they will. And I felt that way, ironically, about what was going on in my country. I love my country, as I say in the song, but I felt like we could have done a little better with some of the package that we had. Even though we got the free, we got everything. So I felt like, France was honest. So I feel like you can always learn something from every area. You could take pieces of every area, and that's what this song is. So I quoted her. I also have a line where I go, like Cardin dressing the Beatles. That's big on big. Now I'm refreshing the Migos. Yep. Now Cardin is Pierre Cardin, which is a fashion designer, and he did dress the Beatles. He actually did styling for the Beatles. He's long since passed. One of my designers, one of my favorite. I think he's dope as hell. I'm into fashion too. JAHAN NOSTRA, just to plug the shirt. You know what I mean? So,
tell the people when they can go and get the shirt, man.
Yeah. You can get the shirt. You can go to my Etsy, which is basically linked to my Instagram shop. The link is right in my bio. You can go there. I have an entire separate section dedicated to that. You can just go to Instagram, check out the link. That's JAHAN NOSTRA. Also, JAHANNOSTRA.com. If you're old school, I do have my own website where everything lives. And you can click on shop and it will show all of we got hoodies, shirts. I got many different designs. This is just one, the Graffiti Edge by my man Mia 7. Yes, but yeah, that's a whole other thing about the fashion. So, but I wanted to mention those French references. There's more. But
that's dope that you did that, because it really fits the whole concept, working with international acts like you and DJ Cliff, out there in France, using references from real history. That's some good shit. That's some lyricist shit. You went and did your research, bro.
Fact. Yeah. Fact.
Yeah, man.
You feel me? Yeah. A lot of cats, they're gonna do what they do. No, take it as a time to challenge yourself and come up with something more interesting. And everything I meant related to me as well. And I want to show the love between France and America. It's a connection. You know what I'm saying? It's love. And I think that was the point of the song. So yeah, I wanted to definitely mention those.
We dropped the joint together with DJ Cliff, but what can we expect from you, man?
Yeah. Well, I got my album Violet Skies. Violet's the color of creativity. This album features Noir, Master Ace.
Look, I was new, didn't look smart. I'm the villain to a hero, pain ruin my good heart. They pay attention to your wins, but loses the good part. Gave you a chapter out of my life, and my jewels is a bookmark.
Mel, Rex, it's got production from so many people. My man Symphony, my brother Crow. There's a few things I'm gonna throw on I'm probably gonna add French Stimulus as well as a bonus joint on there. It'll be 3 volumes. Volume 1 deals with that essence hip hop, is like I call it the core hip hop, going back to my core fans. People that know me, I've done songs. I mean, just to talk about my past, I'm all about the future, but I've done songs with people like my brother Smith and Wesson from Brooklyn. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Tone Trump. My brother Chesky, R&B singers like Omar. Yeah, Tone Trump. I got a joint with him. Omar Wilson. Right? Yeah, huh? Yep. That's a fact. From Philly. Yep. I figured you would know. You know what I'm saying? You know some of these names. Yep. I've opened up for people like Kass, Ludacris, T.I. You know what I'm saying? J. Cole. I mean, I could go. There's a lot. I've done a lot of that stuff.
That's family right there. Kass, man.
Yeah, I seen that.
Respect, man, for the homie. I produced a joint.
Yeah.
I was young, you know, I was like something like 19, 20, you know, he picked one of my beats.
Wow.
Always showing
Dope.
so, you know.
Yeah, he's a good
Kass,
dude.
you know?
Salute Kass for sure.
Yeah.
Good dude, lyricist.
Yeah,
Lyricist,
bro.
bars.
Yeah, man.
Bars. Yeah,
Hey,
definitely.
I remember I asked him, you know, like, who's your all-time favorite lyricist? He said, me. I wrote Nature of the Threat.
Yeah. Well, that is a classic.
Let freedom ring with a buckshot, but not just yet. First we need to truly understand the nature of the threat. And a pale man walks in the threshold of darkness. Roughly 20,000 years ago, the first humans evolved with the phenotypical trait. Genetic recessive, blue eyes, blonde hair, and white skin. Albinism apparently was a sin to the original man. African, so the mutants traveled north of the equator. Go Europeans later, the first race haters. So here's the devil's alpha to the beta.
I'm not gonna lie, that is a classic.
That's a classic. Well, real, you know, just like you know, it took time to research, you know, find history things, you know, and write that shit down into a hip hop song. You know, that's what
into a hip hop song. Yeah, when you talk about lyricism, you know, he's a good person to bring up because it's like so many people, you know, because I guess art is subjective, but at the end of the day, no, come on, man. There's something that separates when you can do research and tie it together. I don't think people understand how hard that is to make music cohesive like that. Because that song Nature of a Threat is I mean, he talks about the origin of the history. He talks about Jesus Christ portraits. He talks about the history of how these things came about. Black history, American history, all weaved into a song about basically the evolution of man. I mean, I know that song. It's an amazing song. You know, that whole, you know, just to show you what type of head I'm, you know, he had Assassination was the second album. His first album was Soul on Ice. And that album there was a lot of that. And there was a lot of that. And me as an artist, I was definitely influenced by a lot of that stuff. You know, I'm fairly, you know, young man, but I'm like, you know, a lot of that stuff was what pushed me, and that's what I gravitated to. I like to party and all that. I got songs like 20s, and I got other songs that I have. But overall, my core as an MC, I reflect reality, prove that I'm the illest, and uplift for the future. But there's always lyrics involved. Mobb Deep, you know what I'm saying? These are people, Smith and Wesson. These are people, not only are those my brothers, I'm honored to have a record with them, but those are people I grew up off of. The Shining, Illmatic, you know what I'm saying? These are the things that, you know, inspired me. J. Rue the Damager, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's so many people out there. And so getting back to lyricism in my album, Violet Skies, it's reflective of that lyricism, but also new age essence, I like to call it. And because it keeps the core essence of hip hop, but it also keeps it updates in the production. So, you know, I was inspired by all those guys and women. You know, Queen Latifah, the Native Tongues. So a lot of my music is reflective of that, but I think I bring out a lot of my own originality. You know, I started off on the mixtape scene. Let's get back to the mixtapes too. The mixtapes were a big influence for me, man. Coming up, I used to sell mixtapes in high school. This is why this is, you know, it's time to get to the meat and potatoes. Now, Mixtape Addict, shout out to DJ King Flow. The mixtapes and real lyricism is where I really started. You know, I was signed to an independent label at 40. I tell people this all the time because this is when I started. I was signed to an independent label when I was 14 years old called BMX Entertainment. On my new video dedication, you actually can hear a rap that I actually dropped when I was 14 at the beginning of the video. It's a new song with Tom L and Rex from Massachusetts. Rex is another dope MC who's on my new album. At the beginning of dedication, there's a song I have I did when I was 14 years old. It's called The Ultimate. That's kind of, I tell people that's when I started. I was rhyming before that, 9, 10 years old, you know, I'm from here. But as far as coming out, because I was signed at 14 to an independent label called BMX Entertainment. Now, when I was on BMX Entertainment, I used to travel to Planet Studios in Manhattan all the time. And I used to do songs, this song to Shorty. I did a bunch of songs. Now, when I was in a contract at the time, this is a young kid, it was cool. You know, they didn't, you know, screw me like most people did at those times. But basically, it was like there was a lot of, you know, stipulations, a lot of things you can and can't do. So I had to wait for my albums to put them out, you know, the different things. It was all based upon marketing, which I understand now as a grown businessman. You know, I was a kid then. But what I did, right, as an outlet during these times was we had the mixtapes. So the mixtapes were like for the hustlers. The mixtapes were for people that needed to get their art out and spit real bars. You had artists like Styles P, Fab, other artists that would put out albums, but then put out mixtapes. 50 Cent revolutionized the mixtape game. I come from that because when I was on BMX, I did the same thing on more of a medium scale compared to those artists. But what I did was I was selling a lot of my mixtapes and I was rapping on DJ mixtapes like K Swift, DJ Stretch. These are local Stanford artists. And then, you know, I definitely have built with a guy named Dirty Harry. There's a bunch of people from that time period, which I'm sure you know who he is, and a lot of other people that kind of got me into the mixtapes. And then I started putting out the mixtapes myself over instrumentals. And my boy Udi Ooh and a lot of other DJs we had, even at Stanford at the time, we put out mixtapes. So I would rap over other people's beats on mixtapes, just like 50 did. And I would also rhyme on DJ mixtapes. Like there's DJs that will put out blends. There used to be blends, and they would put out these blends, and then they would have feature a rapper on the mixtape. I did a lot of features with DJ Stretch, DJ K Swift, a bunch of different people that, you know what I'm saying, that really kind of were on that vibe back in the day. So, you know, that has a lot to do with, you know, me starting off and kind of me breathing, because while I was in the contractual, you know, agreement, this was a way to get my music out. You know, before the feds ran up on DJ Drama, you know what I'm saying?
They were arrested, the offices raided, and equipment and cars seized. They were charged under state racketeering laws, the kind most often associated with organized crime. The perpetrators celebrated mixtape DJs Drama and Don Cannon, whose downtown Atlanta offices were busted on January 16th, but what police and the Recording Industry Association of America said was the sale and distribution of pirated music.
This was something that I did, you know what I mean? So Mixtape Addict, this is your audience, this is what it is. So shout out to the people that inspired me, the people that inspired me on a big level, because mixtapes were almost global, because I was traveling down in New York, Midtown, other areas, and copping mixtapes like it was bud. I was out there getting all of that stuff. And you know, I had Doo-Wop 95. I had DJ Clue, Desert Storm joints. I had these tapes. These tapes were more popular than albums. Some of your favorite rappers got on in the game, became national artists. From Cameron to Pierre Cardin, all off the mixtapes. I was one of those artists that caught that wave as a youth. So that's my start. And that's really what attracted me in building with King Flow and with, you know, I was already, you know, with Cliff. You already seen that in a way. So I was with both people. But my reality is I still love that culture. I still love the mixtape culture, man. That's a fact. You know, Justo was given the mixtape awards. Shout out to Summer.
Man, they stopped doing that, but man, that was some crazy shit, man. They stopped doing
that. Yeah. They had to stop it, man. I know you a fan of it. I mean, you know I'm going crazy, but you see how much of a fan of it I was. You
say the right names, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, yeah, you remember when the police came up on DJ Drama? That was fucking crazy to see that, you know? Feds run up on
the feds. Can you imagine the feds? Hip hop is the only thing that deals with this shit. Now, that is no violence, no nothing. He's selling mixtapes. The feds came up on him, really? Yeah, they going hard at us, man. That hip hop, they know hip hop's powerful, Flo.
Yeah, man, you know, that's why, you know, I'm doing you see the Industry Pirates mixtape that I'm doing with Young Amsterdam, you know.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a revenge, like to those feds, the same thing. I mean, I did not get run up on the feds, you know, physically, but we have received letters, you know, from big labels, you know, and they shut down like 3 DatPiff accounts that I had with like 30 or 40 mixtapes on it. Boom. And shit, that's
crazy.
Never see those.
So they're sending you like cease and desist joints, almost. Okay. Wow.
A couple times, and it was from Warner Bros. Every time. I remember that.
We even in the struggle with music, you know, like music is a beautiful thing. It's an art, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, money is serious because they see these boys, even the samples, the way they did with the samples, they see that we were able to take nothing. You know, most people starting in hip hop, they didn't have no instruments, Flo. They didn't have no instruments to create. So what they started doing, they started using their mind. They started innovating and using stuff. They couldn't afford being in the classes to take the classes. So we started scratching, flipping the records back, and still came up with something that's has the biggest influence over the world. So they can't stop it.
That's what hip hop is about, you know. It's doing something out of nothing, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like for example, you know, Ralph Lauren, you know, the clothing brand, you know, same shit.
Right.
It wasn't made for hip hop. The dudes, you know, came and stole the shit, make it, and that's why Ralph Lauren was so popular, you know.
Yeah, shout out to the lowlifes. My brother Anthony Chen, all the brothers that, you know what I'm saying, that are down with the L's, the lowlifes. They you know, there's a whole documentary about that. Yeah. There's a whole documentary about the lowlife. It's so dope. Sadat X. I know those dudes, you know what I mean? But they got international because they was flipping them polo brands and it became something different. Even if they don't like it, they flipped it. We always had the power. Now you got people like Ye and all of them taking it to a step further because it's like, yo, we're going to start making our own stuff. You know, that's why I see myself in the future. It's like, we got the sauce already. It's just having the proper manufacturing and getting it right.
What's the next step with your merchandising? You know, because I see you talking about that, you know. So how do you create designs? Like, do you do the design yourself, or you tell somebody to do it when you have the idea in your mind? How do you work it out?
Yeah. When I have an idea, I'm not, you know, I'm just really learning a lot of the graphics, but I know what I want because I'm a visionary a lot of times. And some of them, you know, sometimes there's people that will be like, you know, certain graphic designers that'll be like, yo, I have an idea. And I would make sure that they are, you know, presented with whatever from that. And I just make my percentage. But overall, it's my name. And when you look at it, there's so many things more that I actually create and envision myself. Like Violet Skies, we have a guy named Mia 7. He's from Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia. He painted a mural of me, which is, you know, he was a supporter of mine. He painted a whole mural that says JAHAN, NOSTRA, Violet Skies. As a matter of fact, this is the cover of my album coming up. You can see it on my Instagram page. But anyway, he also designed this logo for me. And he's like a brilliant graffiti artist. I mean, he's dope, you know what I'm saying? And we had the idea with this, we sent it to him, but he was a real graffiti artist, he had the ability to really take it to the levels that I can. I think a lot of times people don't understand working with people, you know, you got to compensate them, but you also, it brings things much better when you can collaborate, because if you can, and you have the idea first, you don't have to do every single thing, because actually it's all about cooperation. I'm sure, you know, when you're trying to get out a mixtape or you're trying to get out an album or trying to do different things, there's different people that, you know, you have to collaborate with them. I believe in individualism, but I think sometimes, especially in our days, we can get too caught in that. You know, go ahead and compensate somebody if you can work with them. Shout out to Royal Communications, where we're at right now. You know what I'm saying? That advertisement is in the sponsorship is from Royal Communications, you know. And, you know, whenever you can collaborate, it took us a minute, but we up and we're in here together. And these are the things that you always want to do, because I'm really about independent, man. I'm not, at the end of the day. So yes, a lot of the designs, to answer the question, because I don't want to get too far off, is me. And I'm like, yo, this is how I would like it. And then these graphic designers take it to another level. And I'm like, okay, great. I approve of that. Boom, 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 boom. But a lot of times, especially with my name, you know, I got to have that. So I'm like, look, you know, we can work certain things out, but I'll pay you for your work and your intellectual property. And then we'll find a way that we can kind of move from there. But some are more collaborations where I'll just cite whoever the graphic designer is. But I just gave it right there. That's the guy that I work with. And he's extremely good. And he's really helped me with a lot of designs and getting out my visions. But yeah, a lot of them, I have it down. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, this is what I want. This is the emblem I see, you know. And I got another vision coming up, prominent clothing, which is after Ever So Prominent, which is my label, which has been around for years, and my company. That'll be my next gear. And, you know, I'm really going to play a lot with script and hieroglyphics. I'm going to play around a lot with that. So I have a lot of ideas moving, but yeah, that's the way I do it. And then I work with, you know, I try to avoid overhead and issues with stuff like that when I do stuff like, you know, work with the Etsy shop or different areas where you can kind of purchase and then they print up, as opposed to you getting bulk. Like back in the day, we was getting bulk, you know, just like mixtapes. We get a bunch of CDs, you burn them, you know what I mean? Now you what's dope about online, you don't have to put up all that much, you know, because you got to still market it, you got to still sell it. So, you know, you got to be able to, you know, not put up all your money in the beginning. You want to be able to flip it, so you got a budget, right? So the more that I can, you know, the less that, you know, I can put out and the more I can put in is good. But it's always going to be quality for me. I'm quality over quantity with everything I do.
You're a true international artist, my man. You know, we here in France, you know, working on some shit, doing interviews. You got your homie in Indonesia, you know, doing murals, working on the merch, you know. So
yeah,
how did you get, you know, that inspiration, you know, to work with people, you know, from all around the world? What makes you want to?
That's a great question, King Flo. I mean, for me, I reflect reality, prove them the illest, and uplift for the future. So though, you know, I give props to local, I'm always global as far as my mind is concerned. And that has really nothing to do. A lot of people try to do it for money. They try to do it for different things. For me, I've always been like that because really I've just tried to express love, sincere essence, and truth in my craft, right? And when you do that, I feel like you automatically are international only because everybody can relate to that. So a lot of times, unfortunately, you know, Jesus never really got love in his hometown. You know what I mean? You know, not to get too crazy on y'all, but if you study Christianity, you read different things, you look at it. When he was in the Middle East, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was, when he was preaching, they was like, you ain't the Messiah. you ain't the Messiah. Nah, you're not the Messiah. He came in his hometown. They was like, but when he left out, right? It's just one example. I'm sure Prophet Muhammad for Islam or other areas, but you know, Jesus is a real big figure, so I'm gonna use it. He basically went out, and when he went out, he started teaching, and everybody started following him. They was like, "Oh, you are the prophet." He was turning, you know what I'm saying? He was touching people, healing them, healing the blind. Yep. They was like, "Oh, okay, this dude is serious." But my point of this is the analogy is a lot of times, unfortunately, you may not always get it just in your home at first. You got to step out. Once you step out and you get it popping, you know, I've done shows in Montreal, you know what I'm saying? I've done shows in North Carolina. I went to college in North Carolina, you know what I'm saying? So I went there, and first place I ever did a show with Catch Cradle, you know, which is in North Carolina. So my point is like, there's so many places, Virginia, Washington, where I performed, and it's like, I'll go anywhere the love is. And then with that 360 spin out, then people look and they're like, oh, hey, you need to be doing something here at home. We're going to start embracing you. So sometimes you don't always do that. So to be international, and listen, here's another thing that inspires me. Forget about me. I love the love that these international countries have for hip hop. They got the ball. Everybody's talking about, oh, Atlanta, da da da. They're only thinking about America. Okay, let's look at France. Let's look at Paris, France, particularly. Okay, the city of Paris. You look at Paris. You look at Indonesia. You look at Czech Republic. You look at Prague. You look at, you know, there's so many cities. A big one is Bogota, Colombia. Barcelona. They love hip hop. Yeah, they love the real hip hop. You don't gotta be. Look, so I love trap. My parents live in Atlanta since 2003. But when you look at it, you know what I'm saying? It's not the core of what essence hip hop is from up here. So the reality is a different sound. But listen, international over in these cities, they loving it. They embracing it, and they doing it from that perspective. So I want to link with that. And I always feel like hip hop, or where's hip hop? Hip hop is all over the world now. It ain't just in New York. You know what I'm saying? It started in New York, shout to the Bronx. It's
you know what I'm saying? Now. You just look at, you know, commercials, shit like that. You know, you hear hip hop music all the time. Now, in fact, hip hop is everywhere, man. You know,
it's everywhere. Even when you look at Afro beats, right? Afrobeats is real popping right now, allegedly Afrobeats. There's a guy named Fela Kuda. Okay? You look back at them who inspired conscious artists like Common and a lot of other artists. If you listen to the drums, a lot of the conscious artists been on that sound. Yep. So the reality comes into whereas you got to say to yourself, where is this coming from? You got to look at the root. That's why being smart is always good. People act like being smart is a bad thing. It's a great thing because if you know the roots, you know where Sankofa. If you know where you coming from, then you're gonna know where you going, and that's really the key. And when I hear the Afro beats that's hot right now, they playing in America. That's what they playing on the radio. Like I'm telling you right now, as far as commercial, that's all we got right now. You know what I mean? The hip hop, so a lot of it has been very commercialized, but there's a lot of independent artists that break through. You still got the J. Coles and the Kendricks and a lot of other people, but they're severely outnumbered.
And what are you listening to right now in terms of like new artists?
Good question. I mean, I think for new art, well, those are two. I listened to the new Kendrick album. I love it.
I come from a generation of pain will murder his minor. Rebellious and more jealous, a trip you for designer. Belt buckles and cloud overzealous and prone to violence. Make their own turn, be a will of the will alignment. Residue burn, missed at the inner city. Miscommunication to keep homo detector busy. No protection is risky. Desensitized, I vandalize pain. Covered up and camouflage, get used to hearing arsenal rain.
I listen to Cole, but there's a lot of people like Dreamville on the Dreamville squad, the young boys on the Dreamville squad that I really, really love. You know what I'm saying? I do like certain artists. I like, believe it or not, I'll surprise you. I like art and artists. So I'm not always on the lyricism. For instance, this might surprise people, but I like 21 Savage. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think he's dope.
We all love lyrics and all that, but like when you were in the party or club, barbecue, some shit.
Yeah.
Make some fun,
Yeah, you want to have some fun, you know what I'm saying? But also with me, it's just art. Like Tupac's one of my favorite artists of all time. I think what a lot of lyrics can escape certain lyricists, and it doesn't escape me, because French Stimulus is another good example, is you got to be able to make songs, not just bars. Now, bars are great, but when you make a record, Common is good at it. He's a good example. But I'm trying to think of a new artist. Like I said, Kendrick, Cole is good. I like Big Sean. Big Sean is very good at it because Big Sean has bars, but he can make a record. If you listen to his albums, he's very well-rounded. Being well-rounded is a big thing for me. Yeah, you have to be well-rounded.
He also has a voice, you can recognize his voice, as soon as he starts rapping,
Yeah, very distinct voice. Exactly. Having a distinct voice. The Baby has some joints. I kind of like some of his joints. You know what I mean? He knows what he do. He's a little out there, but he's young. He'll get it. He'll get it eventually. Yeah, for sure. But I like he spits though, and he's from North Carolina. I have a little bias. He's from North Carolina. He knows a lot of my people. A lot of people that I know that have a studio down there know who he is. So he's outside. Yeah. He's in the community. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. People that I know that are in the culture, there's an exceptional love that I have for them, because this is also in essence culture and expression and the participation in the culture. Some might be higher than others, but the reality is still the culture. So if you express that and you come real, even if you've crossed over a bit, it's like I can still respect, the roots, because that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that know the Baby's putting in a lot of work prior, and a lot of those artists in the South, a lot of independent work that people don't necessarily know about. So I salute them. But even here on the East Coast, independently, there's a lot of artists, right here, in Stanford and in New York that, I really dig, on an independent level, doing a thing, Progress is the process. A lot of people in the town, and there's a bunch of individuals, so many to name. But it's all about progression and finding ways that you can just stay innovative and stay creative. Here at Royale Communications, Young Executive does something called Vibes and Verses. It brings together a lot of people, a lot of different artists from around the area, that come and spit. I had a great time there last week just freestyling, and there were so many artists that were there that I'm looking and watching their stuff now, and just was just dope. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what hip hop's all about. I came from EO Dub in New York City. I used to, I got footage, you know what I mean? When I was when I was 20 and 19, 18, I was going to places like EO Dub, which is the longest running open mic in New York City. Used to take place in the Pyramid. And people that came out of there like Immortal Technique, Poison Pen, myself. There's a guy named Nims. Nims is hot right now.
Yeah.
Nims ain't new. Nims been going to EO Dub since I've been like 17.
Yeah. Do I got the Glock? Yes. I'm the livest out my projects. Coney Island. Money is the object. All that frontin', you ain't do nothing to them ops yet.
You know what I'm saying? He was on it. This is the love of the culture, and these people just blowing up, exploding now. Like Nims got big on that TikTok, his personality. But like Nims, I know him. He's from Coney Island. Yeah, exactly. I knew him since I was like 19 years old, Ken. No doubt.
Like
that's a fact.
The new New York sensation right now,
Yeah, the new New York sensation. That's a fact. He's someone I like, and it's dope because he's new, but he's been at it forever. I mean, he put his dues in, and that's what I mean. I'm around that. I'm outside, man. I'm outside.
Let me ask you a question, man. What could you say to the young MCs, that's trying to do the same thing right now, get into this music industry, and take their career seriously, man? What could you say to them?
Right. Yo, to the young artists, man, basically, know the business. Understand exactly what you're getting into, not only from a creative level, but from the business level. Understanding, what is a point? What is a royalty? What are brands? What is radio royalties? Are you with BMI or ASCAP? Do you understand, what revenue comes in? Are you paid quarterly? Are you paid annually? How does that system work? What is being paid in perpetuity? Like, what are brands doing for you as opposed to you doing for them? Who's the promoters? Who are the best promoters in the cities that can you research in Minnesota? Who are the 10 best promoters for hip hop? These are things that I do. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Eileen. My brother's Bob. There's a lot of people I work with as well. And we all are pretty committed. And, there's just so many different levels. And I think that's something, being on an indie label at 14, right? And I got a second chance. They let me out my contract. They let me out. Morris, shout out to Morris, and my brother Gary. They let me out. They didn't keep me. A lot of people back then, you still got artists right now, some of your favorite artists. I'm not even going to shout them out. But they made contracts and decisions they made when they were 19 or 20 years old that they still are paying for right now.
Yeah, that's some real shit.
That's a fact. I got blessed. I was blessed. I got a second chance after I was basically, split from BMX Entertainment around 15, 16. After they could shelve you. A label can shelve you. They could sign you, right? And if you don't read your paperwork right, if they signed you, they can actually take your album, leave yourself. Cormega, before he came out with his first album, for many years, he never got that album out. He was signed to Def Jam. And when he signed with Def Jam and the firm situation went down, he had to go underground. He created his independent thing, and he killed it. And he won like one of the first mixtape awards to bring it back to the mixtape. And he did his thing, but his first album never came out. He actually later on purchased his rights and went back and he released his album, The Testament.
Laid back like a fat Buddha, holding my pearl handle Luger in a Land Cruiser. Rim shine like daytime in Bermuda. I ride tight smoother than niggas who be frontin' like have-a-key movers.
He re-released it. It had Nas. It was a sick album, Mobb Deep. Yep. He re-released The Testament. He got the rights. He understood independent was the wave. Yeah, it's hard to work, but know the business, young. Know the business and try to study, and don't be afraid to study the people that came before you. That's just my second one. Like creatively. Yep. Like creatively. You want to do your own thing, but don't be afraid to peek your head out and look at some of the people that paved the way, man. stuff going on with academics right now is crazy. What's this dude talking about? You know, he bugging. Is he a DJ? What anyway?
Come on, bro. Like, I don't even know, man. You don't make beats. You never heard the academics before, so I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like we say, TV personality or some shit like that. It's a guy.
Yeah, that's more.
It's a guy with no talent, and we let him speak, bro. You know.
Yeah, he's feeding off of hip hop. This feeds a lot of people, man. This culture feeds a lot of people, man.
You was down with 6ix9ine and all that. You know, you was always the first one, you know, to kind of like, you know, ride the move.
Defend him.
The name. Yeah. So, you know, fuck this guy, man.
Yeah. That's a fact. You see what I mean, King Flo? Y'all know it. Y'all on it. But
to be honest with you, you know, I'm really happy that this situation is happening because I never understood why we let this guy, you know, get in this position. You know? Yeah. Now finally people are starting to understand that, you know, he's a no.
Yeah, that ain't cool. Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to LL Cool J, man.
Shout out to LL Cool J and Russell Simmons. Academics, like the clothing brand.
You see,
we gotta stop tearing each other down.
Doing the opposition on him.
Yeah. We gotta stop with the tearing each other down. He gotta step his game up, man. He gotta step his game up. I'm rocking some Pumas, man.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to the Pumas. I got the Pumas on.
Man, real shit, hip hop shit, man.
Essence hip hop. That's exactly why I put it up there. Shout out to Russell Simmons, all the people that paved the way for us for me to learn, man. Just to learn, man. You know.
Yeah, I think hip hop is in a good situation now. You know, people are starting to go back to the real shit. So you know, I'm positive. I always, you know, keep my mind positive. I'm positive about, you know, this whole thing, man. You know, we got passion for it. We got love, dedication. But, you know, we are ready for the next 5-10 years. We here, bro. So,
that's why my first single off of Violent Skies is called Dedication. Got a video and all that. Won award and all that. Shout out to Golden Door for awarding us. Yeah, check that joint out.
Go check it out.
But French Stimulus is out right now.
Yes, sir.
Mixtape Addict.
Yes, sir.
I'm serious.
We here, man. Mixtape Addict, J and Nostra. Do you have any last words, man, for the people that watch the interview until the end?
Yo, reflect reality, prove that you're the illest, and uplift for the future. Thank you, France, particularly Paris. Shout out to my brother, DJ Cliff. Thank you to DJ King Flo, Mixtape Addict. You know, Royal Communications here on the Help Out. And we mobbing and doing our thing, man. French Stimulus, stream it now. My album, Violent Skies, is coming very soon after singles out, Dedication, and Picture Frames. You know what I'm saying? Represent, man. Peace and blessings, man. Blast off.
Yeah, blast off. You know, it's all about the culture. Everybody go check French Stimulus. You know, we here. Shout out DJ Cliff. Shout out J and Nostra. We here, you know, from France to the US once again. Shout out to you, my
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Thank you, man. Take care, baby. Mixtape. I love it.
Yes, sir. You too, man. Peace.
All right, yo. Peace, man.